have fun in your marriage? Do you over-spiritualize your marriage? What do you do when you lose your job and then your baby falls sick and then also your wife is admitted in hospital? Today we get to meet a couple as we explore these important questions. Welcome to Decoded. My name is Dayan Masinde. I am a relationship and marriage coach. Every week I sit down with different couples to find out what issues in their relationship or their marriage they need decoded. Welcome.
We are the Simeus, and we've been married now for 11 years, 11 beautiful years. How we met? We subscribe and we follow God, His word, and we love serving Him. And so he is a man of God. He preaches the gospel. And so we were in this meeting that he was preaching, and we were pretty young. He was preaching and I was singing. I sing in church. I love singing. I love good music. And so I was singing and he spotted me. And once the meeting was done, he came to me, and then now he just rolled it off. He told me if we can meet, and so we were able to exchange numbers. Yes.
Yeah, then of course we met. It wasn't very easy. Of course, we were friends for some length of time, and I had to make my proposal, and it wasn't very easy. Of course, I remember starting by preaching, and I think I asked you how many souls you had brought to Christ.
Yes.
I think there was something like that.
Yes.
And she was wondering, this preacher man.
Yes.
Yes, and he talked about God and Moses,
Yes.
We talked about Noah and the ark.
Yeah.
And the word just couldn't come out. But finally, I said, hey, you know what? I'm falling in love with you.
Yes.
And as they say, the rest is history.
Yes.
Yes, here we are.
Yes.
Yes.
And so for 11 years.
I think that was up 17 or 18 years back.
Yes.
Yeah.
17 or 18 years, to be precise, 17 years
Sure.
of friendship, and then now 11 years of marriage,
yeah.
and working together. And marriage has been a beautiful thing. I'd say
Oh, yeah.
it's a mixture, We've had our highs, we've had our
lows.
lows,
Yeah.
we've had, just a mix of things, and that has brought out the beauty in it. We've had moments where the sickness crept in. We have had moments where we didn't have money. We lost jobs, both of us. We had moments where we got a child and he had a challenge. But I want to say that we have come this far, and it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey. And so we have walked together. He has brought out the strength in me. I have brought out the strength in him, and we have both have had a beautiful, experience in this walk and in this journey.
Yeah.
When I got into marriage, I thought I was loud, but then then when I got to him, I realized he's louder than me. He's been able to stretch me. I'd say 11 years down the line, I am more bolder. I have discovered the treasure in me because of this man who has stood by my side, this friend of mine, this best friend of mine that has walked with me. Sometimes he just sits me down and tells me, hey, this is the way things are done, you didn't sing well, what was up, and so on and so forth. And career-wise, he's been able to stretch me, and for that, I'm really grateful.
Thank you. As a preacher, I was used to shouting, in crusades, in conferences, and I went into marriage with the same mentality. So I get to the house and I'm still shouting. I'm making Sophie another congregation. And I think to me that was something that I seriously needed to work on. Mm-hmm. And being a quiet girl, I think we finally had to come to the middle ground. Mm. I had to tone down, and she had to pull up her socks, to some level where now we're able to balance up things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been beautiful, hasn't it been?
Yeah. It's been an exciting journey of 11 years from the time we got married. That is on the 8th of August, 2009.
Yes.
Yes.
So
actually, this year we are doing 12 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're doing our 12th anniversary.
Yes.
In August this year.
Yes. Mbele iko?
Mbele iko sawa.
It's now time for me to have a conversation with this amazing couple, the Simiyus. Hey, all the way from Eldoret.
Yes.
Hey, manze.
The city of champions.
The city of champions.
Yes.
Sisi ni wale tunakimbia.
Nyinyi ndio wale wase, eh? It's such a joy to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
Now, he found you singing. Ulikuwa ukiimba. You were singing. Eh?
I'm still singing.
You're still singing.
Yes.
And you're still preaching.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, and now you mentioned that there's a point where you're very loud in marriage, then you realize that, hey, this is not a congregant. Eh?
Yeah.
This is your wife.
Yes.
How was she responding when you're shouting?
Of course, she didn't like it.
Yeah.
She didn't like it because, you know, you preach out there, but here you are my husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't confuse me for, you know, a mission field.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to make a mission field.
Yeah.
And of course, I really had to work on myself, and we finally got the balance. We got the balance because she was very quiet as well, but that didn't really mean that she couldn't, you know, talk, you know, and all that.
Yeah.
So we got our balance, yes, and were able to gel.
Yeah, you're able to gel.
Yeah.
And look at you smiling. There's a very, very, very painful story that you told me
Okay.
of your son, Ryan.
Wow.
And you told me how, you know, when he was young, when
Yes.
he was just, you know, you're pregnant at the time. It
Yes.
was a smooth pregnancy. And then
Yes.
what happened?
From conception, everything was smooth.
Yeah.
Until a couple of weeks to her DOD. And so one
DOD,
night,
day of delivery.
day of delivery.
Yeah.
So one night, we are sleeping, and all of a sudden we feel like you know, our beddings are wet. And I thought that was, you know, the water breakout,
Yeah.
which they say is a sure sign of labor. When I switched on the lights, it wasn't water as I thought. It was actually a pool of blood. There was blood, yes.
There was blood coming
Yes.
from you.
Yes.
Yes, she was
All
actually
over the
bleeding.
bed. You're
over the
bleeding.
bed.
Yes. And something funny about it, she was not in pain. There was no pain, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I quickly, my immediate neighbor was a medic. So I bring her in and she says, Pasi, here, you don't wait. We quickly get into the car and I rush her to the hospital. When we get to the hospital, the doctors say, now here, it's not about the baby, it's about saving your wife's life. And so quickly I have to sign this, you know, consent form.
Yeah.
And finally, they had to, she was to be operated on, that is CS.
Yeah.
And the objective was just one, saving her life.
To save
Because
her
she
life.
was bleeding, she was
Yeah.
losing a lot of blood.
Yeah.
And
How many months pregnant were you?
That was almost due like 2 weeks into
2 weeks to delivery.
to delivery,
Yeah.
to my delivery date.
Yeah.
So I was almost due.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, so that happened. And then now the baby came out. The surgery was performed, and now Ryan
lucky
came
enough,
out.
both
Yes.
her and the baby.
So no one
Fine.
died.
Yes.
No one died.
Which is why you're calling him Brian
Yes,
right
Ryan,
now.
Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan is alive and well.
Is
Hi, Ryan. So yeah, so after that, they took him to the nursery, and the first like 12 hours are very crucial. So they would monitor him. They realize when they're trying to feed him, they use the tubes to feed him. It would like bounce back. So basically everything would bounce back, even his saliva. They call
Drooling.
it drooling.
Yeah.
It kept just going back, and then even into the tubes. So they said something must be wrong with Ryan, and so they decided to do an X-ray like a day.
And before that, sweetheart, you know what they told us?
Hey, no, wait a minute. How have you called her?
Sweetheart,
Hey,
of course.
okay. So yeah,
Yes.
before that. Before that.
Before that, they'd actually told us it was very normal
Yes.
for firstborns to inhale some secretions during the process of delivery.
Yeah.
So they told us, don't worry, this is fine.
Yes.
They said in a couple of days' time, they will suck out the inhaled secretions from his body system, and the baby will be fine. But what she's trying to say, after those 2-3 days, instead of the drooling going down, it actually increased.
It increased.
That is how they thought it was necessary now to do other, you know, further medical examination. They did an X-ray on him, and now they discovered a very serious complication.
So Ryan having a serious complication at
Yes.
that time.
Yes.
And then what did the doctor say needs to be done?
An emergency surgery on him. Yes, and that's what happened. They took him to a very complicated surgery. They say in that condition they told us only 1% survives. You know,
1 out of 5,000.
5,000, they survived in that. So for us, it was just, it was just like against the wall, pressed
Yeah,
against the
yeah.
wall. And so he went through that, and he came out. He was in hospital like for
30
1
days.
month, yeah, 30 days. 30 days just recovering and all that. And it was beautiful. And then they told me, Mommy, your son will have delayed milestones after this. But I didn't know it would take long. I thought it would be like, a month or so, or 3 months, and then everything will be back to normal. And that's the expectation that we had.
Yeah.
But then that did not turn out to be so. It spilled over the years. And then along his growth, we found out different complications along the way.
Yeah.
So it was quite a challenge.
Yeah.
But I thank God that we are almost there.
Yeah,
Let me just say,
you-
we are
you're almost there.
Yes.
And then now you mentioned that at that particular time when this is happening, you had already resigned, or what were you working?
Yes, I was working before then. Then I just resigned just before, just before my delivery, because now I projected like I'm getting tired, I need some rest, my me time with my husband and all that. But now, so he asked me to resign, which I did. And then now,
2 weeks later, I lost my job.
yes.
You lose your job.
Yes.
So you're resigning, you're losing your job.
Yes.
And
Because
this
what happened was, she was heavily pregnant.
Yeah.
And I hated to see her go through what she was going through at her place of work. So I tell her, this is not necessary. Please resign. I'm going to pay you what you're being paid by your boss.
Yeah.
Only to lose my job
Yeah.
2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
And maybe something that we didn't explain, I think it's important for our viewers to understand the condition you're talking about that Ryan had.
Yeah.
There's a medical terminology that they use to describe that condition. Our baby was found with a blind pouch in his esophagus and an abnormal opening in his trachea that led straight to the lungs. They call it TOF, tracheoesophageal fistula. We had never heard of such a
Very big
terminology
word.
before.
Very big
Yes.
word.
We were hearing that word for the first time.
Yes.
And that was really, really tough on us.
Ladies and gentlemen, this couple have definitely walked the journey. Walisema mbele iko sawa. We shall get to see how sour is the mbele after the break. Stay tuned to Decoded.